This camera's shit. Oh, okay. Conflicts based on labels and differences, or uniqueness, better said. Conflicts based on labels, differences, uniqueness, and in other words, the drama of certain people who have influence on certain people. So in USA, you have the whole MAGA, and this is why I said life is doing its own thing in a way, and it's bringing people together in a way, very weird way, very dramatic way. In the USA, you have people who are standing up against MAGA and ICE, staged or unstaged. Similar things happening in Gaza against groups, staged or unstaged. Either way, the world, life, is doing the staging, and everyone has a role. But what is it also showing? One of the good qualities is that people are coming together. There are still those who are fear, and they're like, oh, what would they try to do? How would they try to take advantage? And it's like, if you continue to move, anyone who continues to move with that kind of footing, you're going to trample several times over, and you're going to miss the step. You got to elevate. True intelligence, like I said, when it's guided by love, is very wise. Love is not unwise. Love is very wise. Love is very sensitive to energies, behavioral patterns. Okay? And knows how to transmute. See, everything that's going on with how things are elevating all over the globe, how people are coming together, protecting freedom for all, getting back to the true abundance of life, not based or determined by finance or money. All that is happening because people are coming together, and those who are very sensitive and wise, who are spiritual, not religious, who are spiritual and have learned from energy, nature, the animals, and people, and themselves, and their experiences, those people have done work in person and online. For example, when I tell people in my previous video, I think the one before this one, how, what was it? I mentioned how certain words can be twisted and the context can be different, and it can be perceived, context can be perceived in so many different ways, depending on where you currently stand in the moment of that interaction. This tastes so good, by the way. We have learned, and many people are learning, that Earth is abundant. Everything was already freely given to all. So why do people, the globe, are realizing that there is no true evolution and no chance of our evolving to develop if we are lost in titles and ideologies and things that are not grounded to the highest of love, freedom, and abundance for all. Highest of love, freedom, and abundance for all. Compassion and understanding. Anyone who has the eye and has trained their heart and mind and soul and spirit and has communicated with spirit, with nature, the animals, has learned from the dogs, has learned from the cats, has learned from the birds. Anyone who has actually done that work knows that We do have that potential to thrive. There'll be disputes, and there are some disputes people may have, but those are also in a developmental stage as well of evolution towards thrival, towards thriving. Let's say, for example, we have the Jew on Jew jokes. Have you guys noticed that? The people who make these avenues to bring people together because they understand the elements that bring people together, the qualities that bring people together, they see beyond these labels. They see beyond the label of Israel. They see beyond the label of Palestine. They see beyond the label of USA. They see beyond those labels so much that they realize that these are all commerce labels. It is commerce. Someone creates a community and we're going to call it so and so, and we'll do, and this community will be called so and so, and this community will do commerce with so and so, and we'll call it this, and we'll use that to measure this. And of course, the problem comes when we start to commodify what life already gives. You know, people make, I know, it sounds like utopia, right? And people make utopia sound so fucking difficult. The only thing that is difficult is when people are still lost in the illusions. Because even those who have peered over the other side of life come back and realize, wow, all this other drama that sometimes people get lost in, it really goes nowhere. And you have to keep learning and learning until you overcome it. So, where is your intelligence? And where's the intelligence of anybody individually if you continue to let yourself be brought down or divided by labels, by categories, by religious ideologies? Hold on, let me let this noise pass. You can't evolve if you stay stuck on those things, y'all. And in order to even evolve how we do commerce and create our economies and what our economies are based on, you have to look beyond the man made constructs. Growing and expanding your network, your business relationships can be done by anybody. And it has nothing to do with rising to power to rule over others. The only rise of power that you have is to be able to share and elevate others. That's how people end up adoring you. That's what draws people to you, individually and collectively. People are drawn towards the animals. I mentioned it in my other video. Why are people drawn towards the animals? Because the animals have this collective unity. They have their up and downs, but that doesn't mean that their unity isn't there. We know it's there. We can see it, especially with the dogs and the cats. Oh my God. God bless these beautiful beings who are very wise with all the energies. They'll teach you how to use your root chakra, your crown chakra, even your vocal chakra in a much more elevated way where you're not just wasting it. So it's good. It's good that there is motions and movements and actions being taken towards coming together, towards peace, towards unity and development. But let's also remind ourselves that development doesn't necessarily mean more concrete buildings, doesn't necessarily mean more uh, long-winded, drawn-out systems, financial systems, and procedures to gain access or even create what we want to create or experience what we want to experience, we don't need those long drawn out processes. There's too much to do. There's too much creativity to do to be held up by long drawn out processes. So many people don't know what it's like to just let everything go, not worry about everything, and yet life provides everything. And then if you're working in harmony and all your works, in other words, your works such as gardening, planting, being creative, expressive, elevating, loving, sharing, okay? And even training. Because even with such a world, you still have people who have to develop themselves. They experience self-doubt. They question, are they strong enough? Are they smart enough? Are they intelligent enough? Are they loving enough? People are learning how to love themselves, love life, love others. So that comes with its own pair of challenges, its own shadows and lights, and things like sexy battles can help elevate those. But also planting gardens can help elevate that. Working with the animals instead of trying to hunt them for food. There's not food. There are friends. Again, I understand people who eat egg because there's unfertilized eggs. I get that. I get that. And I get some of the fish stuff, but not too much on the fish. Uh, more plant based, better. So, and speaking of egg and plant based, I'm going to go grab some lunch. But I hope that this was a good reminder to everybody on what to focus on. There is so much to do, y'all. There really is. There's so many sports and activities and athletic stuff to do. All right, things to create, arts. Why are we gonna get lost in labels and dramas and the the affairs of people who haven't developed in certain aspects, haven't fully developed their love in certain aspects of their life, and how it affected their commerce relationships in commerce, relationships with people. Everyone is taking self responsibility and reconnecting to the power and the wisdom within them that is guided by nature and nature essence, which is love in all of us. So I'm gonna go eat. Peace.